Josh, I'll say it once, I'll say it 1,000 times, man. You are definitely one of my favorite people, period. And of course, the band, too.
Wow.
Like, I always feel like you guys are family. And I actually miss doing the Much Music red carpets with you guys because that is always one of my highlights of the year. Do you miss doing it, man?
I do, yeah. And we all feel the same about you too, really. We've always gotten along so well, off camera as well. But yeah, the red carpets were always fun slash terrifying because we would usually be doing something so stupid. I think my maybe my most terrified was there was right towards one of the last MMVAs we did a red carpet where also a lot of people at home won't necessarily know this, but like we were known for these like really over the top entrances on the red carpet, but we never warned Much Music about what we were doing. We always just showed up, sometimes like in really over the top ways. And the one that terrified me the most was we had the idea of, okay, two guys are going to have what appears to be a ski boat, and then two of us are going to be in water skis, and I'm just going to wear a speedo. So I was
I
basically
remember that.
yeah, so I was basically naked on the red carpet, terrified. I will admit I had a little bit of liquid courage before doing that one. And then and it was always what was always funny to us was we wanted our red carpet entrances to be really inconvenient for each other. So that one specifically, I was only wearing this tiniest speedo and huge water skis, walking around on this red carpet, but feeling very uncomfortable. And then oh my God, I don't remember what her name is. Someone else will know this, but the girl, the actress from Modern Family who looks a lot like Mila Kunis. I don't know her name.
I
I
know who
feel
you're talking
terrible
about.
for not knowing her name. But I was being silly, obviously, because I'm dressed like that. And then she was obviously like done up like a proper award show, looking like looking beautiful. And I walked up to her wearing that outfit and I went, "You look ridiculous." And the joke did not land.
Ah. Well, but she should have. Look, they warn people. They've said it all the time. Red carpet, anything could happen at that particular red carpet, and you guys were always the highlight for it. So you know what? No disrespect to her, but forget about
No,
her.
not at all. Not I don't. None meant. None intended.
None at all. But man, look, all the things that you've done. Of course, your Grammy Award nomination with Carly Rae Jepsen, "Call Me Maybe." I mean, like I said, man, you've always been a staple point with working with people, writing, and just taking Canadian music to another level. And you're doing it again, man. New album,
Wow.
new single. Let's get to the new single. Let's go right to it, man. What is the new single called? What is it about? And of course, who are you involved with this new single?
Um, First of all, you're far too kind. Thank you so much. The lead single is called "Lady Mine." I think it's pretty obvious what it's about if you listen to the lyrics. And I did it with my friend Chad Kroeger, who what I was actually thinking about when I wrote the song. I was thinking about drawing on the same influences that I assume Lenny Kravitz draws on, like it was sort of like very 70s rock. Now, not the problem, but like what I was aiming at was Lenny, because I love Lenny. But then I started to sing, and I realized that whenever I get pulled on stage with a cover band, I always end up singing AC/DC. And I knew the exact range where my voice would start to sound like that, and it's in the same key as "Highway to Hell," because that verse in "Highway to Hell" is the same. It all sits around a C, and I knew that if I sang a lot of C's, that my voice would sound like that. So then I sort of arrived at that song, sort of drawing on the Lenny Kravitz stuff, but a little more of that too. And then I was kind of like, who could I ask to sing on this song with me? And then I realized very quickly I only know one person who could do it, and that's definitely Chad Kroeger. And thankfully he said yes. And when Chad's vocals got on there, it really took the song up a notch. Like he's such a great rock singer. It was obviously a total honor to work with him.
I'll tell you something, man. I know you're saying the rock thing, but I got a lot of soul and funk out of that too. Like it's definitely 70s, but it's crossover 70s where
Yeah.
any genre it could have been played in.
Um, Thank you. Yeah, I guess the other main influence on that one, drawing more from the soul R&B side of things, was Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge, like, Songs in the Key of Life is like one of my Bibles. It's like one of the best albums ever. And if you listen to the phrasing in the chorus, it's not the same notes or anything, but the phrasing in the chorus is similar to the Stevie Wonder, I wish those days bow good back once more. It has a little bit of that going on too.
I love that, man. Okay, but this, of course, is connected with an album. What's the album called? And talk about, because Chad's not the only person, man. Like, you've got a who's who on this.
Have you heard the whole album?
I've heard some of it, not the whole thing yet.
So basically, I always planned on, at some, like, Marianas Trench is still alive and well. We're definitely going to do another Marianas record, and those guys gave me the full support to do this. But basically, I have always planned on doing an album at some point where I played every instrument myself. That was, like, I always dreamt of doing that one day. And then it was kind of like, when am I going to bother doing that? Because I'm always busy with doing Marianas Trench. And then the pandemic happened, and then quarantine happened. And, like, remember the beginning of quarantine when it was like you didn't even leave your house for like a month? Like,
dude, look, you can't even tell. Look, I cut the hair.
Oh, wow. That, for you, that's a big change. Wow.
Exactly.
But it was like, so I couldn't really interact with the guys in the band. So I was kind of like, I think it's time I do this solo record that I've always been planning on doing, where I play all the instruments, and I'm doing this multi-instrumentalist record that I've always wanted to do. And then I was talking with my manager, Jonathan, about, like, should we do this? And he said, yeah, I think you should. But he was like, well, how is this going to be different than a Marianas Trench album? Because I'm the songwriter in Marianas Trench as well. So what are you going to do? Because the first thing I shouldn't do is just do a Marianas Trench album on my own. That's not a good choice. Don't do that. I don't think the guys in the band would appreciate that. I don't think fans would appreciate that either. And frankly, it's just, why bother doing that? So then it was sort of like, well, so what does this look like? What genre are you going to do? What are you going to do to make this not a Marianas Trench record? So the first thing that I arrived at was, I mean, I'm also a songwriter for hire. As you sort of mentioned, I write songs for other people all the time. So then I was sort of like, you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to do a record where every song is a different genre. That's what I'm going to set out to do, because that is not a Marianas Trench record. I'm going to just not even bother picking a lane, and I'm just going to do as many different things as possible and really try and stretch out. And not do the same thing twice. So there's a couple of songs, I guess, that could have been on a Marianas record, but for the most part, this is, like, very different. And I mean, people are gonna say that it sounds kind of like it because my voice still sounds like my voice. And what do you? I got what I got. Yeah. It sounds like my voice, but I really did try and stretch out and just make a lot of songwriting choices that I would have never done on a Marianas record. And in doing so, that was actually very freeing as a writer, to just be like, you know what? Who cares what genre it is? Let's just focus on a good song is a good song, and let's just worry about that. And really, I think these days, I think people are ready for a record like that, because everyone listens to everything on shuffle now, anyways. So, exactly. Right? Everyone listens to everything on shuffle, on Spotify, on playlists. So, yeah, I mean, it's really all over the place, the album. You guys have heard the lead single, "Lady Mine," but then, like, on the album, that's the opening track, and then the next song is like full on 1940s big band swing. Like, it's all over the place. And then we've got, like, EDM, we've got grunge, like 1991 grunge. I wrote, and the closing song on the album is a full symphony orchestra. It's just, like, really all over the place.
You know what I love about this, man? This is something Prince would have done if he was still alive. I actually believe that. And the fact, too, I mean, Prince played all his instruments and wrote everything. You fall into the same steps, my friend.
That is, I would never ever think that I'm in the same league as a legend like Prince. However, he was part of my inspiration for the record, which is why I dyed my hair purple, because that was his signature color.
Any chance you're going to be able to tour this thing, man?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm going to do a Canadian tour. I'm going to do a US tour. And we're going to do some dates in Europe as well. And it's really fun. Like because there are so many duets on the album, I made sure to put together a band that features a lot of great musicians who can also sing leads. So there can be people trading off in real life as well. And a lot of multi-instrumentalists. So we're going to all like trade instruments and stuff. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Actually, we didn't get a chance to name some of the artists who also were on this too.
Yeah, on the record. Yeah, so there's Chad.
Yep.
I did a really fun country song with Dallas Smith. And I can tell you guys, I was there when he recorded his vocals, and that guy is one of the best studio singers I have ever seen. He
True.
is. That guy has never met an out of tune note in his life. He's amazing. He it took about 15 minutes to record his vocal, and I'm not kidding. He's amazing. So that song's a lot of fun. The song that's the full symphony orchestra. I lost both of my parents this past year, and so I wrote a song for each of them. And the symphony orchestra one, I wrote for my dad. So the only person that I could possibly ask to sing that with me is my sister. So my sister Sarah sings on that song with me. There's a really fun. I did a really fun. This is an odd genre to shoot at, but there's one song where I was specifically shooting at mid '80s British. So I'm talking like Peter Gabriel, I'm talking like Squeeze, and Serena Ryder sings that song with me. It's called Beat the Devil. And when Serena, I've always wanted to sing with Serena because I'm such a fan. She's such a good singer.
Oh,
she's got that voice, dude. She's got that voice, right? She's got those pipes. And she's such a sweetheart in real life too. And I sent her that song. I didn't send it to anyone else. I only sent it to her. I really hoped that she would do it. And she laid down like one of the most like classic vocal performances I've ever heard. It's so good. Like it brought the song up so much. When she sent me her vocal, I actually just started laughing and like fangirling because it's so good. So she's in there. There's a newer artist named Fionn that are on 604 Records. They're a super talented group of twins that I have been working on their records with, and I love them so much. They're so good, and I believe in them so much that I asked them to do a song with me on this record. And actually originally I wrote the song for I got asked to write a song for Walk Off the Earth, and so in doing the demos for that, I had asked the girls from Fionn to come sing on it because Walk Off the Earth features male and female vocals.
Yeah.
So I asked Fionn to do it. And then Walk Off the Earth, like they held the song for a while and then they didn't end up using it. So it came back to me and I was just like, hey, do you guys want to, like, should we just make this an actual duet? And they were like, yeah, sure. So they did that. There's a really fun sort of like real pop song that I did with Rhea May, that originally Rhea came to Vancouver and we wrote the song to just be a Rhea May song. And then she, at the time, she left her record label and she was in between labels. So it was like, well, now the song's never going to come out because she's not on a label. So then I was like, could we repurpose this as a duet and put it on this record? Would that be okay with you? And she was down with that. And actually it ended up being more fun having two voices on it because you get different perspectives and stuff. Yeah. And she's on another record label now. But at the moment it made sense for the song. Trying to think of who else is on this record.
Fifi?
So, Fifi Dobson. Fifi's on there, and her and I, speaking of the MMVAs, we had met at an after party at the MMVAs when we were both very intoxicated, and we made friends. And I was like, you know, I'm a fan, and you know, we should do something together at some point. And I thought it was a good fit because we both are known for doing pop music, but with the heart and soul of a rocker, you know, and we kind of both have that vibe. So I thought it would be fun to put our voices together and see how that would go. And I wrote that song, and I just texted her and was like, I'm sure at that moment at the MMVAs, it was like, we should work together. And it was like, yeah, sure, guys, have another drink. I'm sure that's gonna happen. And then, you know, years later, I wrote this song, and I was like, oh, you know, Fifi would be perfect on this. I wonder if she'll do it. And I texted her and I sent her the song, and thankfully she said yes. And then she had a note. She was like, I don't think the bridge is, I think we need to go back to the drawing board with the bridge. And you know what? She was totally right. I'm so glad she had the confidence to come in and just be like, I think we need to rework this part, because the song is so much better for having her involved. So we went on Zoom and we wrote a new bridge together. And I'm so glad that she helped out on that song, because she was right. What can I say? She was right. And then there's a song that I did with Tyler Shaw. Um, and first of all, guys, Tyler Shaw, like his voice is gorgeous. The guy's voice is silk. Um, he's got this beautiful voice, and so I knew that I wanted to work with Tyler at some point. And we had written a song that never got used. Like we had worked together behind the scenes before, and I knew him to be a great dude. And I initially, actually, hilariously, I initially wrote the song for with someone else in mind. Like that song, I wasn't like specifically writing it for Tyler. Initially, I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I could do a song with Bryan Adams? And so I wrote the song to pitch to Bryan. And then Bryan was too busy doing his own record. Fair enough. He's Bryan Adams. He's got a lot to do. And so the song, then it was going to be just me on my own. And then there was some call and response that I written in there. So that it didn't make sense. And then I was like, I've always wanted to sing something with Tyler. I wonder if he'll do this. And I sent the song to him and I texted him, was like, hey man, like, would you listen to this? And if you like it, maybe you could sing part of it. And he sent me a finished vocal the next morning. Like he was like that. And it was perfect. He's such a great singer.
So are you, my friend. Look, we're going to wrap this up because I know you got more interviews to do. But I just want to say, man, thank you so much for the years of doing red carpets and new albums and everything else. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing. Looking forward to what Marianas Trench is going to be doing in 2022. And like I said, man, just all the best in the new year. And thank you for this gift for fans, man. This is a great album. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Rudy. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much.